Yeah, he goes, bow. And he basically says, like, you're gonna get beat. You're gonna get beat for being bad. And he stops him. He says, Paul. He says, Paul.
He goes, Paul, sit down.
Paul, chill out, Paul.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we highlight and discuss new series each week. Today, my name is Josh Isekai Michaels. That was an easy one. And today, I am joined by...
Mehgan, half demon Perrine.
Half demon Perrine. Mine was too easy.
Mine was good. Yours was bad.
Well, mine was good, and it applied to the series that we're going to be talking about today. But it was a little easy.
I feel like you used it before.
I've used it many times.
Every other time.
Not denying that at all. Thank you for tuning into another episode. Today we are talking about not just the first volume of Mushoku Tensei, but a little bit of the anime, a little bit of the light novel, a little bit of just sort of the hype around the series, some other isekai that has been compared to, and our feelings on that. This was a series that I think came highly recommended after, specifically, I think my excitement for the Away Paladin. Mm-hmm. I mean, when we reviewed the Away Paladin, before the anime, I think, was even announced, it was an isekai series with a similar-ish premise that I was obsessed with. Mm-hmm. I think you and Cody felt a little less, jazzed about it. But, it is what it is. I mean, everybody gravitates towards different things. And when this got announced, the Away Paladin got announced to have an anime, this Mushoku Tensei came out at the same time in the same season. And I think a lot of people said and felt like it overshadowed the Away Paladin. And people seem to be way more excited and at least way more vocal about this series than the Away Paladin.
And that was the third season that came out the same season as Away Paladin.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah. Because it's been ongoing for a while. I'm pretty sure it was the third season that just came out.
I don't know, because maybe you're right, but when I watched it, because I watched it just to see the hype, and I only saw one season, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Obviously, it's based off of, and I think this is like very common when it comes to isekai more than anything else, that they have a light novel first, and then usually that light novel will get adapted into a manga and then adapted into an anime. And that's not always the case. I think Re:Zero might have been adapted into an anime from being adapted into it went from light novel to anime without a manga in between. There's manga since. I don't know. It's complicated.
I think that's the same thing. Well, it's not like an isekai, but like Bunny Girl, like the Rascal Dream of a Bunny Girl Senpai. There's just names. But I think that was a light novel and it went straight to an anime, if I'm not mistaken either. But I remember being like, oh, they have a manga for Bunny Girl Senpai. And then I opened it and I was like, oh, it's a light novel. Not that I don't like light novels, but I'd prefer, I think a manga more than I would just like a light novel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
personally.
Yeah, for sure. Me personally, too, I would much rather read a manga than read a light novel. I've never actually even read a light novel from beginning to end. I love books. I mean, I have my favorite books, and I used to love reading them a lot more than I do now, and felt like I had more time to read them than I do now. But, with just how fast you can consume manga, and especially just like getting to appreciate the art, and especially like the rate at which I feel like you can get through a series.
Yeah.
Compared to having to sit through an anime adaptation of it, like to me, manga is superior. I mean, sometimes you can't really get.
Depends. I mean, yeah. People like doing research on this series, like people were saying to read the light novel and not the manga because the anime is following more of what the light novel's doing than the manga. But the same thing with the light novel, same thing with the manga. They're cutting things out to be, in the anime, they're cutting things out that are in both source materials. Obviously, the main source material does come from the light novel, not the manga. It is confusing when there's like three different forms of like
three different versions of it, and each version. I mean, of course, you always go source material, right? So if it is manga to anime, you go manga, and then of course if it is light novel to anime or light novel to manga to anime, you always got to go original source material. What started it all? And here it is, the light novel. So the light novel is obviously the most true way to consume this story. However, I decided to check out the manga because of the hype behind the anime, and was really shocked at what I saw in the anime versus what I read in the manga.
Yeah, I'm sure this episode will have a lot of Mushoku Tensei.
Oh, wow.
Because we're going to go into it. And again, I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. I'm not a huge isekai person. Even reading this and watching the anime, I was just like, I could probably go without watching this or reading this at all. But I would say I'd much prefer the manga over the anime, what I've seen of it.
Yeah. And I would consider myself like an isekai guy, but not an isekai lover, right?
Because isekai life. You're not like isekai life.
Yeah, I'm not like isekai for life.
Isekai for life.
I'm more like isekai, here and there.
Isekai, come and go.
Yeah. Isekai, why not? Like I love ReZero. I love, Konosuba. Every time Away Paladin, like I was pleasantly surprised by. I mean, there's so many other, I remember looking at some of my figures, like that time I got reincarnated as a slime, and I looked at, some of my figures and I was like, damn, I guess I do love isekai, because I just had a lot of isekai figures. But, I really, really, really enjoyed this series a lot. Again, there is a chapter of the light novel at the end of this manga, which I think that happened when we did either the Away Paladin, or I think it's happened in like Goblin Slayer as well too. They'll put like a chapter from the light novel at the end of the manga sometimes. And I really enjoyed what I read from the light novel, and I really, really, really actually enjoyed a lot of what I read in the first volume of the manga adaptation. However, what I saw in the anime, let me just say this, was not for me. Compared to, again, what I had just read in the manga. It's wild. It's wild. And there's differences all the time. There's differences in every adaptation. If it's just from anime to manga or whatever. But it was, and again, maybe it was because I could put my own sort of like, I don't know, voice or project my own sort of self onto the main character, and it didn't feel as heavy-handed or as aggressive as it did in the anime. But in the anime, it was like wild to me.
It just made me like not like the character right off the bat. Like immediately, like I was like, I don't like this guy. Like this is not my thing. Like in this, it was just like it showed him being a good person. Obviously, there was other things that he didn't do, but it showed him being a good person at the end of the day. Versus the anime, it was just straight to that, and then him just acting like kind of like an asshole.
Yeah, and again, like, people have their preferences, and I'm sure people are going to come at me for this. But when I did watch it, and maybe you're right, maybe, multiple seasons had come out, because there was already a dub out of the first episode that I watched. And, so I watched the dub, and I know I got my freaking battle armor on, and I'm ready, because I know people are going to come at me for this. But
I dub thee a baka.
And that's, you're giving people ammo. You're giving people ammo.
Comment that, you guys.
I immediately, as I turned this on, the anime started like no other isekai I had seen before, at least with the level of intensity in which the main character was isekai'd. You always see it happening in different ways, and by different ways, I mean the same way, but just different takes on the same way, I guess. And it's always, hit by a truck or hit by something, or maybe shot or something. I think, I think I can't remember how Rinmaru, or the main character from Slime, I think they were stabbed or shot or something.
That's a little better. I mean, they're always hit by a truck or hit by a car. Like, it's always the same deal.
It's always the same deal. Well, Subaru was hit by a car,
too.
Yeah, Subaru was hit by a car.
Subaru, maybe.
Subaru maybe was hit by a Subaru. And that's why it makes sense. But at least here in the anime, and I'm talking about the first couple seconds, it did initially hook me, because it's opening on a dark street, and you're just hearing the sound of the ambulance and the equipment, the defibrillators. You're hearing people running around screaming.
Beep,
you're hearing
beep,
everything,
beep.
And it's dramatic.
Oh my God,
and it's intense.
Save him.
And it's really intense. It's something about how cinematic it felt. I was like, this is lit. This is lit. I understand why people are comparing this to the Away Paladin, or why this is like outshining the Away Paladin.
Yeah, like you're watching it, you're like, the Away Paladin's like far away
compared to this.
Yeah.
And I get there, and I'm in it, and I'm hooked, and I'm invested, and my whole heart is in it, and I'm there strapped in, ready to go. And then you start hearing voices, the main character starts hearing voices, and in my memory, you don't really get to see him at all. It's just kind of through his eyes and everything as he's experiencing it. He opens his eyes, and this is like similar to a lot of other isekai, but he's hearing, his parents talking, because he hasn't been isekai and like straight up like plopped into another world. He hasn't been plopped.
He's been plopped out.
He's been plopped out.
Yeah.
He's been plopped out into another world. And so he's a little baby. He's like, wah, and he sees his mom and dad, and they're speaking another language, and then he starts
I liked. Good touch. Nice touch.
Little touch.
Yeah.
Fantastic little touch. Loved it. And then cue the main character's voice. And he's looking and he's reincarnated into this freaking magical world as a freaking baby after that traumatic car accident. And I just hear like, oh yeah, look at those bazoombas. Oh yeah, I hope I get to suck on those. Oh wow, who is this girl? Oh yeah, she's bringing me close. Hey, what's that guy doing here? Get out of here, guy. I'm trying to suck on these bazoombas right now.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much they changed in the dub and the sub. Imagine the dub just completely went a different direction,
that would
and
be
the sub,
crazy.
he's just like, wow, this is a crazy world. I wonder how, imagine.
Yeah.
No, but I think, honestly, the dub did not help that dialogue.
It did not help at all.
And the
cool.
voice actor made a choice.
He made a choice.
To be like this raspy, like, oh, hey, what you do? Like an accent, like so odd.
I guess there's magic in this world, but where are the panties at?
Yeah.
And I pictured him with a cigar the whole time.
Yeah, he's like the baby from
the Roger Rabbit baby. Yeah, he's like the Roger Rabbit baby.
And he has an assistant.
And also, too, I felt like I was watching Boss Baby at a certain point, too.
Oh my God, it is like Boss Baby.
And I was even kind of down if it was going to do that for a second, where he was like running around and he was just like had a grown-ass man. And again, once you go back and you read the manga, you get to spend more time, or you get to see this character before they're isekai. You get to spend more time. And I'm sure it's like that in the light novel, too.
I'm sure they show that in the anime at some point.
Later, maybe. Yeah. But what an interesting choice how to start a series, right?
I much prefer this. It gives
the
you...
manga.
Yeah, the manga. It gives you, like... a complete, like, first telling of, like, who this character is versus, like, just plopping from an accident and then saying all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, because he's running around like a baby, and all I can hear is he's like, hey, watch out. Whoa, do all the girls here have big knockers?
I know, and he's trying to, like, sniff them, and, like,
yeah.
He just takes it way too far. And this, he's, like, actually trying to be a good person.
He's a kind soul. And yeah, he has, like, one or two thoughts, and that's the thing about it is... I don't know if it's because it's in a manga form and I can sort of picture or project whatever I want to onto the main character, that it is very toned down. There's only like 2, maybe 3 moments where he even kind of shows similar
but that's
traits.
I mean, it's way better. I mean, it's like, of course he would be saying this shit.
Yeah,
like,
but even when he does, it's so toned down.
Yeah. And
like
the ecchi factor is like with the other character. It's not necessarily like towards him. He does say some stuff, but there's other stuff that happens. I'm like, oh my God. But it's like, it's way more, it's easily digestible in this versus like watching it. It made me feel like, oh, like, is this going to be the whole time? Like, is he going to be this way the whole time?
And I'm sure there's a lot of people in the comments that we did watch the first episode, and I think that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to maybe suggest that it goes a different direction, or it's heavy in the first episode, but then it kind of lightens up or whatever. But I just really did prefer the manga, and I know there might be people out there who have read the light novel and say that it's even better in the light novel.
Yeah.
But I did, in preparation and doing some research, I have heard that people say that the manga actually tones down a little bit of the light novel, or it actually does make it feel a little more wholesome than the light novel. So maybe the anime is a more faithful adaptation of the light novel than the manga is. But either way, I prefer the manga. And I actually think that Mushoku Tensei as a manga is a really fun read and a really good time. Compared to the Away Paladin, if you haven't read that in any form or watched it, I still, and I'm going to really try to articulate why in this episode, in this video, I still kind of prefer the Away Paladin more than I prefer Mushoku Tensei, but I will say Mushoku is, after reading the manga, is up there. It's up there. It's a very close race between the two of them.
Well, I would think that, I mean, I agree. I think I like the Away Paladin more than I like this, just because there's like an ongoing, like from what I read, like a mystery going on. I feel like this is kind of like textbook, like he's gonna have to fight the demon lord, he's gonna have to, you know, make a band with people, he's gonna have to get armor, he's gonna have to, you know, like I just feel like it's kind of like beat by beat, whereas like Faraway Paladin, like you get introduced to these characters and the things happen and you're like, why did that happen?
There's a lot of mystery in the Faraway Paladin for sure.
Yeah, so that's why I think I would prefer like watching that maybe versus reading that. It just came out, so I might as well.
I mean, and I think what you know, and I'm not saying Mushoku because again, the manga has a lot of this as well, but heart. And I think the Faraway Paladin to me just had a lot of heart, and I really felt, you know, like the main character was not taking this second chance for granted, and that does come across a lot more clearly in the manga version or adaptation of Mushoku Tensei. I do still feel like with that little touch of mystery, and I think it's also just the surrounding cast of characters. You know, in Faraway Paladin, I really did enjoy the wizard character, the mother character, the sort of the mother undead character,
the like bodyguard character,
and then
like
the undead I guess was the also the skull
the
like,
skull guy so it's just the three of them and then him.
And I loved how all of these fantasy creatures, because one of them, the wizard, was kind of like a ghost, and you know they all had their own, like, I don't know, they were all so unique and they were all fantasy creatures that had to sort of within the ruins of this civilization, which is also sort of mysterious as to what happened to that place. They have to act as parents, so then they become this child's or this family, reincarnated person's family and parents, and there's a dynamic there, and there's like a mother figure and a father figure and a grandfather figure, and like, I don't know, it was really cool. And on top of all, I mean, you know, we had a long conversation in the My Dress Up Darling video about ecchi and stuff, and you know how we feel about it. So we won't go on too long in this video or episode about it. But you know, it's also, there was zero of it in the Faraway Paladin, zero. And in the Mushoku Tensei manga adaptation, there's a little bit, but it's tasteful enough, and it's for me personally. Everybody has a different threshold for that sort of thing, or it didn't bother me. But in Faraway Paladin, it was non-existent, at least in the first, you know, volume in the little pass that I read. And I just remember having such a good time, and I really felt like I was immersed in what felt to me to be a more, you know, real interpretation of sort of like a D&D fantasy setting. Whereas in Mushoku Tensei, like there are elements of isekai. I felt like an isekai. And I think the Faraway Paladin to me felt like a fantasy, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
No, it's like, it fits, like this definitely, I mean, again, like we only read the first volume of the manga, we only watched the first episode, but right now to me, it does feel, you know, just textbook isekai. Like this is it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. There was a couple twists there. I was like, oh my, it was kind of spicy, not gonna lie.
Yeah, and that's, you know,
and that's what entertained me. That's when I was like, oh, okay, this is like a cool twist I didn't expect. But it is very like I said, just textbook. It felt like an isekai.
And I'll even argue against the textbook thing, because it didn't feel textbook to me.
I mean, it has all the elements that I don't know.
It didn't feel as textbook to me, because there is no demon lord in the first volume, at least. Maybe there will be, and he isn't forming a band in the first volume, at least. Like, it is about, you know, to me, and what I liked about the manga is it is about this main character and just him really not taking his second chance for granted, but also like learning and discovering the world. I like that his, you know, past self being an older sort of neat, but regardless of what his social status was, you know, he was an older person. He can use that to his advantage to learn things faster and you know, understand things quicker. And he's just, what I liked about it is it showed that he was a competent person, a smart person, and a good person. And I think that that's what I liked about it a lot. And I think that's what kind of makes it feel less textbook isekai. Because I don't think, for me personally, it didn't feel textbook. There might have been like little things here and there that felt more textbook. But the story as a whole, like it didn't feel as textbook as some other isekai that I've seen. If that makes sense. And I'm just saying, not that there aren't elements of it. Because I did also just say that this felt more isekai than the Faraway Paladin.
Yeah.
But I also think that that's just because of the nature of the fantasy within this world. Because what I don't like, what I'm not a huge fan of either, and this is just personal preference, I'm not a huge fan of when people go into which again, this is like maybe a good segue to talk about this, but I'm not a huge fan of when people get isekai and then they have video game screens or like HUDs that pop up and give them their stats and their spells. It's actually a really huge pet peeve of mine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't watch enough. The only one I want to bring up, I think you wrote it down, that I have been watching is Fantasy Bishoujo Juniku Oji-san To. I think it's To, which is translated to Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into a Total Fantasy Knockout. This is something that I didn't plan on watching. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, this looks like it could be cute. And then I was like, oh, this is something that I did not expect at all. And it is technically an isekai, and someone does get like, I don't want to give it away actually, but it does have the video screen elements like, oh, you have this power, you have this power, here are your stats. And it doesn't really bother me because I do like the characters, but that's like the most isekai
and Konosuba that I'm going to be. That too.
Konosuba does have that too. I've seen like 2 that I'm like, this is fine. But every other one I'm like, I could do without this, which is like weird. I don't know why. I just dislike it.
It just feels like, are we getting transported into a fantasy world? Or are we getting transported into a video game? Like, and that's what it is for me. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like ever since maybe Sword Art, people always felt like they had to add these like video game elements to like fantasy or whatever, because maybe people are getting transported to like, I don't know, but like virtual fantasy worlds. I don't know. But my point is like, and even like, again, Solo Leveling like had that in it too. And it's just like, I guess, but for me, it's like, I want pure, like if we're doing fantasy, I want a pure fantasy. I love when people take their own approaches and go down all these different sort of routes and really explore a genre and do a lot of things within a genre, which is, I think, what's fantastic about isekai and all the things that they've been able to do. I mean, it is a little oversaturated, I feel like, but at least they're really exploring the genre and really seeing how far they can take it and what they can really do with it. But for me personally, I just do not enjoy a video game screen at all, because it takes me out of it. It's like, because then I don't feel like it's not like what I like about D&D isn't that I'm in a fantasy setting with stats. It's like, what I like about D&D is I get to become that person, and the stats are just like who I am. They're not things that are like popping up around me that I'm going to click on and stuff like that. That rips me out of the fantasy. And it's something that I see a lot.
I feel like maybe that's just because it's like trying to convey like this person would be isekai'd, so this is like the best way for them to understand the world of that they've been transported to, because like they're usually like a NEET, or they're usually like a weeb that get transported into this thing. So they're like, oh, I know this from this game, I know this from when I used to play or watch that anime. So I feel like it's like so they could tie that together, If that makes sense.
No, yeah. And it's a good way to, I think, use exposition, and it's a good way to use.
Yeah, but it's still like, I could.
And I don't even want to say good way, but it's a way. It's just shows to show progress and I think, anime like Konosuba use it to their benefit for, comedy. Because I think Konosuba is one of the funniest, not even isekai, I just think funniest animes that I've seen. And not to say it's my number one, but it's up there. It's so good, and I love it. And even it goes a little too far at a certain point. But all that to say is we're going to go into it. We're going to start going through the first volume, a little bit more beat for beat. But I just do want to say that I do agree that there are isekai aspects to this, but I did really, really, really enjoy the first volume. And I think that if you have seen the anime, and for whatever reason it didn't really grab you, or maybe those elements were a little much for you, I really, really can confidently say that if you picked up the first volume of this manga, that you would probably enjoy it a lot more. And I'm also curious to know too how the manga, how well it adapts the light novel, and what sort of the consensus on that is.
And like if the anime really does just take this character and that's like all he says and does, like, I don't know, it just felt super super in your face, like in the first episode at least. This couple of lines, I was like, is this always gonna be the case with him? Like, is he always gonna be saying these things to people or like thinking them, and it just kind of got old. But if he really like, I don't know, I'm asking if he like develops as a character more. I mean, obviously probably, but we have a lot of people in our Discord that like love this series, so I'm just like interested in like
And I get the love after reading it. So let's go through, but not watching it. Let's go through a little bit of this story, the first volume, kind of walk you through it if it's something that you haven't heard anything about, or to kind of just let you know if it's something that you'll be interested in checking out yourself. So it starts, and I think this is what I love about the manga compared to the anime, at least. And again, this conversation is going to, for the most part, exclude the light novel. But it starts the manga with a lot more time on the main character and his life before. And it had some elements of even like Sweet Home, which was a manhwa that we had covered in a previous episode. But you really get to see that this guy is not only a super neat, but that he, you know, really hates himself, and that his family kind of really hates him too.
Well, yeah, because it is just like, you know, I feel like a lot of the time, like neats and stuff, because there are people that like do have like a really hard time, like, you know, like talking to people and expressing emotions and like being a part of society. But sometimes if you're just like hanging out at home doing nothing, your parents praying for everything, obviously your siblings would be like, well, like, what makes it different from me doing that than you? So that they already have like a kind of thing.
I think the moral is if you don't want to be a part of anything, then you got to just pay your own bills, and then you could kind of do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But if they're paying for shit, then you got to at least go to their funeral.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is kind of what.
And he does not. Maybe he forgot it was the day.
Maybe he did. Let's give him a little bit of credit.
Maybe.
Because again, he does have to become a good person or become a better person later on. So, it's just him, and he's there, and he's talking to some other neats on the computer, and they're all kind of joking about how they're jobless and how one of them is going to be homeless. And you see, and what I really like about it is you see his whole family, like his brothers and sisters, come upstairs, and one of them with a freaking bat in his hand, and they basically drag him out into the middle of the street, and they tell him, like, you know, you had nothing to do, you weren't doing anything,
you're eating ramen. He said, 3 minutes is the longest. He goes, oh, that 3 minutes takes forever, and it was just cooking like a top ramen.
Yeah, like a top ramen. He said, you didn't have time to go to our parents' funeral, yet you're gonna sit here and you're gonna eat their food. You're gonna use their internet. You're gonna use everything that they pay for, but you can't even come to their funeral. They were kind of like, F you, like get out, like which I'm gonna be honest,
valid.
Pretty valid, dude.
Definitely valid. 100%.
Like, you don't have to go to your parents' funeral. You know, everybody has different relationships with their family and stuff like that. And sometimes parents can be pretty bad.
I mean, it definitely depends on the situation. But don't be using their shit.
But this guy had 3 other siblings who were like, nah. Like, you know, you can't just be using all their stuff. Yeah. And not even have because, and again, and you really do get the sense of that this guy's parents weren't bad, that he was just, and even kind of that he wasn't a bad guy either. He had just really, because, you know, they do talk about it throughout the first volume, but that he just kind of lost a lot of confidence, that he just kind of lost a lot of his will to not live, but kind of live, I guess. Yeah, to like have relationships with people.
To have like relationships. Go out into the real world and like experience things. Because he's like, you know, a little later he does like say like, oh yeah, I remember having a friend in middle school, and then he just got bullied, and then he was like, F that, I'm not gonna go outside anymore.
Yeah, and so that's what I like about it too, is you do get to kind of see him as this guy who did try and was kind of doing his version of the best he could do to get through, and he just felt like he kept getting knocked down and knocked down and knocked down and knocked down, and at a certain point was just like, well, you know what, if I keep getting knocked down, then if I don't go outside, then I can't get knocked down. And so he just
if I don't get up, I can't get knocked down.
Wow. And it's really the opposite. Get knocked down, get up again. And they even made a song about that.
They did make a song,
and that's what it's about. It's about neats.
Oh shit,
pretty neat, huh?
Stay on your knees if you're a neat.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
He gets dragged out into the street, and what I really do like about it too is that he's out there and he doesn't feel wronged. I mean, he feels like he really very much deserves this.
Yeah, he's not like, they don't understand me. Yeah. He's like, you know what? This was probably, I knew this was going to come.
Yeah, and he sees a couple. And this is what's kind of interesting about it, too. At least, because obviously, he does get hit by trucks on later. But at least right here, there is a little different dynamic going on with why he is protecting who he's protecting or whatever. It seems to be like there's an argument between two guys and a girl, but it's not cut and dry. Mm-hmm. It does seem like the girl is upset, and maybe none of this matters, but it does seem like the girl is like upset with them, but they're confused because they're like, you asked us for help and we're trying to help. I always like to believe that these things are going to matter later. Otherwise, why would they be in the story? And they're confused, and she's upset, and it's a weird dynamic. But he overhears them, and of course, a truck driver's asleep. Drink coffee, drink Red Bull, pull over. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're driving a truck,
man, come on, dude.
You should. The minute you feel sleepy, just get out.
Just get out, dude. I mean, take a break, stretch. Go to a truck stop. Get you a little. I don't know, maybe like a
stop.
What do they call them? Like a truck stop, truck stop sandwich.
Okay. Yeah, truck stop
they
sandwich.
They have them in the bathroom. You get them through the little holes in the stall.
Stop.
But yeah, you can fit a whole sandwich through there too. It's pretty amazing.
Oh my God.
But he his inner monologue is heroic, and he's like, you know what? I mean, at least I can go out. I'm homeless anyway, dude. And my life, there's no coming back from this, which kind of, I mean, there's always, you can always come back from pretty much anything.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's like, you know what? At least if I can't do anything with my life, then I'm going to use what I have left of it to save someone else's life that seems like they have more going on and more worth living for than I do. Mm-hmm. And he heroically jumps in front of the truck. And then, in typical isekai fashion is, reborn or isekai or whatever. And in the anime, we just don't get any of that. We don't even get to see, and I'm sure we do get to see it later, but we do not get to see it in the beginning. And it really sets the tone for who this character is and, makes me feel like I understand him better or at least care about him more going into this new setting instead of this freaking guy drooling over bazoombas or whatever he is.
I mean, he is a baby. That's kind of what they do.
But he's not a baby. He's a grown man. That has the consciousness of a grown man. And we get all that. And again, all that time was so important. And so when he does get in the manga, when he does get reborn into this new world, there's none of that in the beginning with the parents. It is just,
it goes like boom, 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 boom. It shows him as a baby, and then it goes like 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. You're like lit. I don't want
one page in
all
one panel.
One page, one panel. That's all I need. That's all. What? Yeah, that's no more.
Sick.
Awesome.
Super sick.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
It's all of that.
Yep.
And it's also cool because they don't linger. I felt like the anime kind of lingered on a lot of those ages and him even coming to the realization that magic existed in that world at all, or that he had been isekai or reborn at all. He didn't really know if he had been reincarnated into the same world or a different world because he was a baby. He couldn't really go out. And he was like, maybe I just got reincarnated into a different country or something.
You want to know why? You want to know why they lingered on it? So they can make more suck and titty jokes. That's why they lingered on it. And
more panty
shame.
jokes.
Just shame. Shameful.
Yeah.
Like, why are you? I hate when stories like this just use ecchi to just completely disregard the story. It just felt it just feels like a throwaway. It's like, why are we, you guys who, we get that people want this, but you're just ruining it for everyone else who's okay with it not being.
I wonder if it's going to start shifting, if the amount of people who want it start to decrease.
I doubt that.
I don't know.
I doubt that, Emily.
Because I love the story, at least in the manga. And this is kind of awesome because this is kind of like, what if? Because we always think sometimes what were we talking about in the previous episode? We were talking about the magical senpai anime. And I was like, dang, dude, this would have been an amazing anime if it was a little less ecchi. I wonder what that would even look like. But this is kind of it. You know, this is kind of like, oh, we have the super ecchi kind of version, and then we have the not. And it's like, oh, here's evidence of the two. Here's evidence of one with it, and then the same story without it. And I freaking love this.
Like, imagine if Monster Musume was like wholesome as fuck.
But Monster Musume needs to be ecchi.
Oh.
Okay.
But imagine though.
I wouldn't care about it. That needs to be.
Wow.
Monster Musume, that's what Monster Musume is.
I know, but what if?
I guess. It'd probably be boring.
Oh my god.
Would you want to see it with?
I've seen both. Censored and uncensored.
But I mean,
I want it to be
censored?
Senseful.
Okay.
I don't know.
You like the censored version?
Do I like it?
Yeah.
It's definitely different than the uncensored version.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I watched all of it.
I know. So do you like it?
Yeah, I do.
More than the uncensored?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That was hard. That was just a lie.
I'm sorry.
Like I had to ask you.
Pulling teeth.
Don't. Be careful.
Pulling my leg. Pulling my tail. Ooh.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
Bad. But yeah, I it would be cute. I mean, some moments are very wholesome, but it's just like, what if High School of the Dead was just a zombie anime that didn't have boobs jiggling around the whole time and panty shots every 5 seconds? That would be so sick, though.
In High School of the Dead,
it doesn't need that.
In High School of the Dead, it doesn't need it.
It doesn't need it. It's not just that.
The fact that it's there is so funny. And I
don't want it to be funny. I want it to be mysterious
and
deadly.
Then watch a mysterious and sick
There's no
thing.
other one at the high school.
A zombie one? There's a lot of other zombie ones.
That aren't as good.
It's a manhwa, but Sweet Home was about zombies. I Am a Hero, or I Am a Hero
was
about
manga.
About zombies.
Yeah, but I want to see a good zombie anime.
Zombieland Saga.
It's not the same, and you know it.
That's not the same. But here's again where it gets a little muddy, right? Because I think Monster Musume, that's what it is. That's what its main selling point is. Mushoku Tensei's main selling point, I don't think, is titty jokes.
Yeah.
I think it's got so much more to offer. And Monster Musume has other things, but I think primarily it's that. And it knows it's that, and it's glad that it's that, and it wants to be that, and I like it. Because it knows what it is, and it's happy being that. And I think with High School of the Dead, it's the same thing. It doesn't have to have it in there, but it's so over the top and so outrageous that it's amazing that something like that can exist. Like what? Like to me, that is like the truest expression of like artistic freedom. Like, I know it sounds like I'm making an argument for like that to be in everything. I don't want it to be in anything else other than High School of the Dead, because I love that they did it and that they were like kind of the first people to kind of, because it is a very like serious story that just has kind of those shots in it, and it is so outrageous. There's titties flopping and a freaking bullet goes right freaking through I mean, that is and you're even laughing right now because it's so funny.
It just sucks though. I wish I wasn't laughing at the serious story because of these things that are happening.
But that's what makes it freaking awesome, dude. And
I guess so. We've talked about ecchi too many times in these last 2 episodes. But Mushoku Tensei.
Well, let's
get ready
going.
For less panties.
Okay, yeah. Less panties.
There's still panties in it, though. If you're worried about it being taken out.
He starts learning magic pretty quickly, and I think, again, this just felt a little more drawn out in the anime, but he starts learning magic secretly, and he's practicing, and gets caught because he ends up using a big spell that, kind of destroys a part of the house, and is immediately told, he thinks he's going to be, and this is what else I really liked about it. It's so interesting, like, as we're talking about it, that I'm finding these little things here and there that I actually really did kind of latch onto with this series. But there's another moment that didn't have to be included, but it was this moment of him having to own blowing a huge hole in the house, and he was about to lie, and he says, I really am genuinely serious about wanting to give this life a second chance, an honest second chance, to put my best foot forward and not take this for granted. Normally I would lie. Normally I would cover up this kind of thing. He's like, but dishonesty doesn't really move things forward. It just leads to more. And it's just this really cool moment about and lesson about just being honest. Like, just be honest. Because regardless of whatever happens, like whether it's you suffer a consequence or not, like, it's always going to like move you forward in one way or another. And so he has that whole inner monologue, and then he's like, I did it because I was studying magic, expecting to get scolded. His mom was over the moon, excited because she's a healer and wants to, and sees that he's talented, wants to get him a tutor. And his dad's like, no, I'm a swordsman. You said if we have a boy, then I'm going to get to teach him fighting. And she says, well, how about if he, does magic in the morning and then you teach him swordsman sword fighting at night. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. And they agree. They're like, okay, sick. And this kid, I mean, he's going to have no downtime. But honestly, if I'm learning magic and how to use a sword, but what do I need downtime for?
Yeah. He doesn't even really have any friends either.
Not yet.
That was also sus.
What? What was sus about that? His friend?
Yeah.
What was sus about his friend?
Continue.
We're gonna get to the bottom of that.
We'll talk about the sussiness of that.
Maybe I'm forgetting. I probably maybe am forgetting, but and that's kind of what it is. They get him a tutor named Roxy, who's a very cute character.
Cute. I like her.
Love her. Great character. Badass character.
Yeah.
And even has a comment in his head. He's like, of course I would get the lolly wizard or something.
Yeah.
But again, it wasn't like over the top.
No, he's just like, okay, that's it. And that was like the last thing. I mean, no, there's another thing that happens, but it was not anything else but that. But yeah, I do like her as a character. She's cool.
She's a demon and gives this whole speech about demons and their hair color and why. It goes into the ancestry and the lineage in this tribe of demons that were super powerful and aggressive and had these traits and passed these traits down. And that's why people with this hair color or this complexion are looked at a certain way, because they are thought to be direct descendants of these people. Yeah,
it's like blue or green hair.
Yeah.
Stay away. And then if they have green hair and like a red gem or a red diamond on
their forehead,
yeah, stay away from those people, because those are the worst ones. They're a part of that clan or that family or of that generational evil demon people.
Yeah, and she goes into a whole backstory about them, and it was really interesting because it made the world feel alive, and we love that. We're here for it. And then she goes on to teach him, and it was funny because at first she didn't really expect much from him. She thought that it was another parent that just thought that their child was amazing and wanted to get them a tutor, but was actually blown away when she saw his talent and his skill, and was even kind of doubting herself as a teacher. Like, whoa, am I going to even be able to teach this kid, because this kid's like that powerful already, or seems to understand it already. And that's what I like about this too, is we have a main character that is very competent and has used his knowledge from his previous life to his benefit in this life. So she teaches him all these spells. He learns all of them really well. There's a lot of comedic moments throughout where he is damaging his mother's favorite tree, or it's a lot of cute moments. I mean, him and Roxy, I think that their relationship, he wants to call her master. She feels insecure about being called that. And she doesn't want to be called that, because she's like, you're going to be better than me in no time. You're probably going to end up being way stronger than I am. Like, don't call me that. And they do just form this bond over the next couple chapters that is just wholesome and sweet. Yeah, he steals her panties later.
Yeah, he does do that. Yeah, and also another crazy twist. So she's leaves. She's like, yeah, I gotta go. Or he watches her change, which also sucks. But anyway, she's like, oh, I gotta go. Or is this a little bit later? This is a little bit.
I think this is a little bit later, because
they do the water.
Well, that was really, really cool. And again, this part is, I think, really sweet and really worth, I think, reading, but to sit and talk at length about it, I think would be, I don't know, it wouldn't be as interesting, because it is just a way to show how competent, powerful, strong he is, establishing Roxy, her insecurities, and establishing their relationship and their bond.
Yeah.
And so it is just very sweet. She gives him sort of this final exam where he has to go use the magic, the knowledge he has to create this rain cloud, because the people in the village have also started to come around to Roxy because she's been able to water their crops and stuff for them. And so we get a little bit about the village and a little bit about the villagers. And so she wants to teach him that so that he can do that while she is gone. And he's able to just really, through critical thinking, put together everything that he's learned with the knowledge he already has to do that spell, and they go through the tiers and the levels of the spell, but he's able to do it in a kind of smarter way than Roxy was able to do it, because Roxy was going to have to basically be there to oversee this spell for the entirety of that hour, but he figured out how to use, like, kind of like on some Nami shit, really. Like, he learned how to use the freaking wind currents of the cloud.
And he created Nami shit.
Yeah, he had the freaking climate, his climate baton or whatever up there, and that was his wand, and he was like doing all the whirlwind to create a typhoon that would, propel an infinite amount of energy. And I was like, dang, dude, this guy's crazy. And she was like, at the end, she was like, yeah, you're done. You're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Good job.
You're done. And then they have a very sweet going away kind of party, but also graduation ceremony. Yeah. And he gets a wand from her.
Yeah.
Which is also, I'm a sucker for wands. I have like 6.
You do have a lot of wands.
Six
it's kind
wands.
of crazy.
Might have 7 after this. Shit, I might make one.
Oh, make
really
the
cool.
Roxy's wand.
The wand, Rudius's wand.
Rudius's wand, yeah.
That Roxy gave to him. I might.
That'd be cute.
I might.
Yeah. I might.
Yeah. And then that's the cute moment. And she leaves and she says that she just needs to go learn more. She needs to go hone her own skills. And Rudius is very upset about that. Not upset, but he's, because he really does consider them friends, and he really does consider her to be his master. And she was helping him learn. And he was learning a lot from her and progressing. And and it is kind of implied that she's gonna keep in contact, which she does, but also maybe come back and she will return. But I really like that a lot. But then it kind of switches gears and it becomes, I think, what you were going to talk about.
Well, yeah, like she like leaves. Before she leaves, he's like, oh, he hears like his parents doing it. And he's like, oh yeah, here comes the show. Like, this is sick, which is also like, I mean, I guess they're technically, like, he thinks they're not related, but they are technically related because that's his mom and dad in this world.
What are you talking about?
He's just like watching them do it.
She was watching them do it.
No, but I'm just saying he wants to watch them. He says that.
He says that in the manga?
He says like, oh yeah, here we go. And he gets up to go like mess with them or like watch them.
Oh, that was kind of funny though. Yeah.
And then
I don't think he wanted to go watch them. Maybe he did, but I think it was more like, I want to go like kind of fuck with them while they're doing it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean about the manga. You can kind of put your own interpretation.
Yeah, and then he opens the door and Roxy's like watching them. I was like, damn, bitch, you wild.
Yeah, Roxy
was like, I that was another twist for me. Because that is like so like out of care. Like, I don't know. I was like, damn.
I think.
Oh my God.
I think it's not out of character because I think why she was watching them is because it wasn't the mom and dad. I think that's why she was watching. I think that's what she was like. I mean, she was blushing while she was watching.
Yeah, she looked like she was.
And she looked like she was
really
watching, into it.
Yeah.
She looked like she liked what she saw.
Yeah. But that makes sense. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. But I think she watched it. She was like, oh, she kind of poked it because she maybe is a little bit of a perv. And then she was like, oh. And then she just kind of kept watching.
But I was like, what the heck? And then the next day, and then he like looks at her and he's just like, She's like, what? It's like, damn, Roxy, chill.
I mean, who cares? Let Roxy look.
No.
Let her get her Roxy's off.
Oh, that was good.
But it all kind of does come back into play. And I could be reading into it. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. But it is revealed later that, and this came out of left field, that the dad was cheating on the mom with the maid. The maid. Which
came out of nowhere because she's pregnant too again.
The mom gets pregnant with the second baby.
The second baby again. And like fucking Paul, like everyone has these like cool names. Yeah. Rudius, Zenith.
Well, Rudius is
Sylphie,
not the
Roxy.
Coolest name I've ever heard.
And then you get Paul.
Because I mean, I know someone named Rudy. And it's like, oh, what would my fantasy name be? Rudius?
It's better than Paul.
And it also sounds like Rudius Maximus to me, you know?
It's better than
Paul.
Like
Gluteus Maximus.
Okay. Is
like
that bad?
Butt. Like butt.
Reason you hate butt?
No.
Why would you say
Why would you say that?
But yeah, I thought that was funny. But yeah, I was rooting for this guy. I was shook. She goes, the maid's like, I'm not feeling too good. I'm also pregnant. And they're like, oh my gosh. And the dad just confesses right up. He's like, yeah, it's probably mine. He's like, it's probably me. Yeah, that was me.
Probably mine. Do not freak out about that. We will talk about it. I will explain everything. And everybody's like, okay, what's your explanation? I had sex with her.
Yeah, that's it. That's bottom line.
It was hilarious though.
That was so crazy.
But like, what was the circumstances around you guys having sex? Well, I wanted to have sex with her, and then I did.
Yeah.
And is there anything else you need to tell us about
that, Paul?
That? No.
I'm not sorry either.
Yeah, I'm not sorry either. But it was kind of badass, and I don't know if it was before this or after this. I think it was this other thing that I'm thinking of takes place after. But it was this cool moment too, where I think even Rudius is the one who's like kind of pulling the strings a little bit.
He totally is.
Because the mom, good for her, is like, well, fuck this guy. Like Paul. Fuck this guy, Paul.
Well, she's like, fuck Paul and then fuck you too. And the maid. Yeah. She's like, yeah, you guys suck. And then Rudius is like, well, it's not really. You should be only hating him.
And then he makes up like a crazy lie about him too.
Yeah, that was like, crazy.
That he was like holding her down against.
Yeah.
Because he wants the maid to stay.
Yeah.
So he's like, Mom, and she wants to kick the maid out. And so he's like, yeah, it wasn't her. Like Dad was like a savage. Like he was like
and
holding
Paul's
her down.
like, what?
And Paul's like, it's already bad enough, dude.
Yeah.
I already cheated on your mom.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to be a predator, an aggressor now,
he
too. He
likes the maid. I mean, he does see like how the maid and the mom are like really close. And I mean, like, shit, she's going to be like pregnant and Rudy's going to have to take care of her. And, he's just like, it'd be easier if the maid's here because they get along. And then I can have 2 siblings.
And see, that's what I think too. Like you said, he likes their relationship. He sees how well they are together, how like they do kind of have a friendship. Mm-hmm. He's just trying to keep everybody together. It's a little manipulative, but he is, trying to keep the maid there and his dad there.
I don't want the dad there though.
I don't want the dad there either, but I think he still wants to learn swordsmanship or swords practicing or whatever.
Go visit him on the weekend. Shit.
Yeah, for real. Get joint custody.
Yeah.
Be a weekend parent,
Yeah, get out of here,
Paul. But I like how it ends. It's resolved because it is resolved with like Paul, he is in the doghouse, but he does get to stay and the maid gets to stay as well. Well, it was kind of weird. And I guess, different settings, whatever, different times, whatever. But I do think that the mom was so mad. She was like, yeah, she tells the maid like, you can stay, but you're going to raise your kid and you're going to raise my kid. Mm-hmm. Like, almost in a way, like I don't even want my kid anymore because it's freaking Paul's kid.
Yeah, that was kind of bad.
And maybe she didn't mean it like that, but it was just kind of like I was like, oh damn. But I like what this possibly sets up now because, like you said, and again, why I think this isn't like every other isekai is because I cannot wait for him to now have this dynamic if they both have these kids and like he has like this half sibling now, he has this other sibling who I guess would be his full sibling, even though he's isekai, so I don't even know what that does to your family tree.
Yeah, I think it's just the brain that is I mean, because
your soul, your spirit, your essence.
Your spirit, your energy. Like his blood is definitely related to.
Yeah, biologically, they're full siblings.
Yeah.
And I think what an interesting dynamic that's going to set up. Because I think at this point in the story is about 6 years old or something like that.
I think just about maybe 5, but I think he is.
Yeah,
somewhere
so
around there.
I think they're going to have a really cool dynamic, and maybe they won't do anything with that. Maybe they will, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what that dynamic in that household, what it becomes. Mm-hmm. But, and then kind of where, more towards the end, where we kind of start to get towards the end of the first volume, he meets another character called Sylphie, who is a girl that lives in the village, who has also blue hair. No, Roxy has blue hair. She has green hair. So I don't know how well you can see it on the front, but yeah, Roxy's on the front with blue. Sylphie's on the back with green. Crazy pose. But yeah.
Yeah, it's like
it's the pose is a little much. But
and the poses, multiple, plural. Yeah.
Oh
my gosh, he's breaking his neck.
But I mean, I see people draw all. I mean, but
it's like actually a child.
Well,
like
yeah.
This is a child. Like it's not a character that's old. That is like in a child's body. It's an actual 6 or 7-year-old on this page right now. That's the part that's sus. Like I don't care if it's through his eyes because he's a child now because he's technically not a child. He's like 30 years old, and it's just like, why do we gotta do this? Why do we gotta keep doing this, you guys?
Yeah, I mean, because there's some people who are like, yeah, but she's a 6-year-old demon, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know she's half 6-year-old elf and demon.
Yeah, like, 6-year-old little girl, gross. But this is a 6-year-old half elf, half demon.
Demon. It's just a lot of things.
They're way more mature. 6 years old in elf years is like freaking 80 years in human years.
Don't you get it?
Yeah.
Don't you understand?
Which is like, I understand completely and fully, but just hear yourself sometimes. Like, hear what you're fighting for.
Yeah, get one of those little like parrots that repeat everything back to you, those like the toys.
Yeah.
And just be like,
just listen. I mean,
you're like, demon 6-year-olds are more mature than human 6-year-olds.
Yeah, that's a funnier way to do it, but that is also a roundabout way to do it. I mean, you could just record yourself on your phone. The fact that you have to go get this old toy parrot to record yourself is a very convoluted sort of way to do it. But it's funny.
It's funny.
It's very funny. But it's like, yeah, record yourself. Go on eBay and get one of those old parrots. Wait for it to come.
Or get like the bass, like the framed bass on the wall. Be like, and then be like, here's a little song I wrote, and then it'll play you again.
And then it'll play you, and then that's because that is the way you need to hear it.
Yeah,
you need to hear it out of the mouth of a fish or a parrot
or a bass
or a fish or a parrot.
A fish or I think the fish is a bass though.
Yeah, but you said either a fish or a bass.
Oh, okay, a bass or a parrot.
Yeah, a bass or a parrot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the only way.
But either way, this relationship is another super wholesome, super sweet relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Because he sees her getting bullied by other kids from the village because they see her as a demon, and she has the hair color of the more aggressive demon. She doesn't have that red gem on her forehead, but she has the hair color that everybody is kind of afraid of. So they're like throwing shit at her, and they're being very mean. And he has another moment, and this is another moment where you get to see Rudius, despite his flaws or the fact that he does keep people's panties from time to time. He's just a little kid biologically, yes, a grown man mentally, but he's just out there kind of living his truth. But on the inside, he's a really good guy. Yeah, he's a really good, sweet person. Mm-hmm. And he sees her getting bullied, and he decides to basically jump in, intervene, and take care of those boys.
I would say this was my favorite part of the story. When he does take care of the boys. I don't know why he, in his right mind, would ever think that Sylphie is a boy. I didn't understand that whatsoever, because she's literally wearing shorts, and she looks like a girl, and I don't know why he would assume. I don't know if it was just for the scene to see the child naked in the manga, but I was like, okay, whatever. But my favorite scene was between the dad and Rudius. Yeah, and he's getting like scolded.
Loved that.
That was awesome, because like there's a lot of times that parents just refuse to actually listen to their like fucking kids, and it makes me really upset. It's like, this is a person, like don't treat them like they're not like a living being. Like, you're gonna do as you're told, and I'm not even gonna listen to anything you have to say because I know better, and whatever you say is a lie. It's like, no, like hear their side of the story. Like, it was just such a cool moment, and he really like told him off a little bit. He's just like, you don't listen to me. Anything I say is just going to be wrong, right? You know best. You know what? After I leave, I'm going to leave this house and never talk to you again. And I was like, damn, Rudius, chill. And even he says, like, I probably shouldn't have said it like that.
He pulled a grown ass moment on his dad.
Yeah. Yeah, his dad was not expecting that.
And good, dude, because like you said, like he was saying, like you're grounded, or whatever. Like he's
like, they told me. And he's like, but if you listen, no. It's just like, Okay.
He's like, these boys' moms said this.
Okay.
And blah blah blah. And then the dad, Paul, freaking Paul, dude.
Paul's a bitch.
Paul started out so cool.
Yeah.
And then by the end, Paul is a cheater. Paul is a child abuser because he freaking slaps the shit out of Rudius.
Oh yeah, he does. Oh wait.
Because I don't.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
I don't think Rudius slaps the shit out of him. I think he slaps the shit out of Rudius. And
yeah, he does. He's like, you fucking. You won't even hear my side of the story. You're gonna just slap me in the face, like.
Yeah, he goes bow, and he basically says like you're gonna get beat. You're gonna get beat for being bad, and he stops him. He says Paul. He says Paul.
He goes, Paul, sit down.
Paul, chill out, Paul.
Yeah.
When have I ever done anything wrong?
Yeah, he really switches up.
Like he really does. Like after
his
he gets
vocabulary,
slapped,
he goes.
After he gets slapped, he's like, "Oh hell no, Paul." Paul, when have I ever done anything wrong? And Paul's like, I mean, I can't really think of anything.
He goes, exactly. Right.
Paul, exactly.
Yeah, look at the facts here, Paul.
Yeah.
So I haven't done anything wrong, and you choose to believe them over me,
and
your
you know
own
that
son?
you know that she has the hair color of the kind of demon that people don't like.
People don't like, and you are you're accepting of them, but you know that's anomaly in this world.
Paul, maybe you spend less time fucking the maid and more time paying attention to what's going on.
Pay
in your
attention
house.
to your son, Paul.
Yeah.
How about that?
Really lays it on him. And Paul really does have the moment where he's like, he has a moment where he's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I just got told off by my kid.
Yeah.
And he's making a lot of sense.
He's making too much sense. Yeah. It was clear as day. It was so funny. That was a great moment. And then he goes, you know what? Yeah, tell me your side of the story now. I'm like, that's all you had to do.
But it's a moment like that. It's a moment like that, and it's a moment that happens later with him and Sylphie that just makes this series feel so I don't know, like wholesome and sweet at times, but also just like unique. Like it does feel like it is its own thing. And the relationship with him and Sylphie that is sort of developed over the course of the chapters towards the end, very sweet. She has kind of like taken a little bit to Roxy because even though she never really met Roxy, like she would see the villagers sort of slowly come around to her and how they would, let her water the crops, or they became thankful and grateful for her. And she's like, damn, like, because and this is what's kind of interesting about Sylphie is a lot like Rudius in his previous life, I think. Because Rudius in his previous life, and he flashes back to, he also does think Sylphie's a guy at first, right? And then finds out she's a girl. And then,
because they have to take a shower together.
Yeah, and then, starts treating her a little different. But
yeah.
But it's cute. It's cuter than it sounds.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. But he was bullied, and he flashes back to this girl that he was friends with in middle school in his past life, and how if he would have just, done anything, that maybe they could have still been friends, like not even together. He's like, maybe she still would have been my friend. Like,
yeah, at least.
But I let all these people get to me, and I think he does see that too. That Sylphie has become introverted. Sylphie has become this person who doesn't like to go out and doesn't like to do anything. Yeah,
and we see Sylphie too. Like she's really taking in like learning magic from him. Like she's really like becoming
her teacher. Yeah,
yeah. He could see like how she's becoming like more advanced. He's like, damn, like she can already do this. Like that's really impressive. So they're both like kind of like not at the same level, but she's like catching up to him, and that's when we get told like maybe they could go to that like magic academy where Roxy's at, because he writes him a letter saying like, oh, I'm here, if you want to come, like that would be great.
I'll give you a letter of recommendation, basically.
Yeah, straight up, like you're not even going to elementary, you're not going to high school, you're going straight to college.
Yeah.
Like F it, you're that talented.
And then doesn't he go to Paul? Like Rudius goes to Paul and he's like Paul, let me
like him talking to because he deserves no respect now.
Paul, I'm talented, right? I'm good at magic. You've said this before. Well, of course, son. Well, can I go to this? I want to go to this school.
You've said that before, Paul?
Yeah, you said that before, right? I'm not making that up.
No, I'm not imagining that. You actually said that. Yeah, right?
He's like, of course you are, son. Okay, well, I want to go to this school. Wow, that's great. That's amazing. Okay, here's a catch. I'm going to go if we pay for Sylphie's tuition too.
And he goes, absolutely not.
And I think Paul was a little upset about that.
Yeah, he goes, absolutely not. And he gives him three things. He goes, 1, we don't have the money. 2, we don't have the money.
Right.
And 3, you need to be 12 years old before you can leave the house.
Yeah.
Because I was 12 years old when I left the house. He goes, God damn it, Paul. We're not talking about your life. Okay, this is my life.
He's like, Paul, you suck.
You suck. Get out of my house. I'm only keeping you here for the swords classes, Paul.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then I think it sort of ends on them having like a fight, like a battle, kind of basically like a training kind of battle, or like a bet, like, if you can prove to me or whatever. Because he kind of tells him, he's like, look, I'm not you, Paul. And you know, I'm my own guy. I'm Rudius. You're Paul. I'm Rudius. And they kind of go have a fight. And then there's like another character who's kind of like standing there.
Yeah, some cat girl.
Cat girl, big old titties, juicy ass.
Yeah, the whole 9.
The whole 9. She's kind of there observing, and then it kind of ends a little anticlimactic sort of last panel. What do you mean? Yeah, he gets slashed by his dad who's training him.
He gets killed again.
Okay,
He gets killed again. He gets isekai again.
It just ends on they're having it's his dad who's been training him. His dad's not gonna kill him.
I don't know. His dad has not been liking the way he's been talking to him recently. He thinks he's the man of the house. He's like, let me get rid of this kid real quick. He's causing trouble for him. Okay. Pretty much, he wants to get a job. He tells his dad, let me get a job.
Yeah, I'll pay. He's like, I'll pay for it. Yeah. I'll pay for Roxy's tuition. You pay for mine. I'll pay for hers.
And he's like, okay, well, I just have to kill you.
Yeah, he's like, well, you got to prove to me you're a man or some other freaking old world thinking or whatever.
Yeah.
And it ends on like a slash. And maybe the slash is like supposed to have came from the other person too. I don't know. I just felt like it was a little anticlimactic. Not that it really mattered because I did have a good time.
I'm telling you, he probably got slashed because he knew this cat girl was right behind him. And he's like, oh, here we go again.
That's another girl. Another girl that I was fucking. And Rudius was about to call me out again.
I'm probably not going to get off the hook this time.
So I need to kill Rudius.
Yeah. How much you want to bet?
Yeah, maybe if it's revealed in the second volume that Paul fucked this girl too,
I would not be surprised. Paul. I would not be surprised whatsoever.
I'll also just, what I think is important to mention too is throughout the first volume, it is a big deal for Rudius to even leave the house and the immediate vicinity of the house.
I like that. I like that little touch because usually, like in isekai, they do have a little points of who they were, bringing it back to like the real world. But that was like even though he's like a kid and he knows that it's not anything like the other world that he was in, he's still like trepidatious.
And he is too, because he is immediately transported back to like what happened when he did leave the house. Like when he did leave the house, the first time he was forced to leave, he was killed immediately. And
he chose that though.
He did. But I think he is afraid of he's just traumatized about, because he wasn't neat. And that's, again, what you kind of said is what I like about it. It kind of carries over. Like he wasn't neat. And all of a sudden, like you have a neat in a new world with a second life. Yeah, sure. He makes a promise to himself that he wants to be more adventurous, but he's still always in his past life was someone who stayed at home. Well, you can make all the promises you want, but it's going to take work for you to get out. And it does. You see him, Rudius, work towards getting out. And that was really, really cool too, to see. As far as the first volume, that's kind of, we already talked about kind of where it ends. I, especially going through and talking about it again, and even upon first read, I really, really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. And I thought the small ecchi moments, were so few and far between and were so toned down compared to the anime that I actually found myself really enjoying this series, the manga. Would I continue it? I'll just say that for me personally, it's not high on my priority list as far as series that I want to continue reading or finish reading. But I would like to come back to it, and I would like to kind of check in on it and kind of see, where it goes. And lastly for me, in terms of this versus the Away Paladin, which I did see it get compared to quite a lot, at least in terms of their first volume and how they start in their manga forms. I still do like Away Paladin a little bit more, but Mushoku Tensei is a very close second. And I could see even maybe passing it if I were to continue them both and kind of find out more about where the story goes. But what about you, Megan?
I mean, I did enjoy reading it. I don't think I will continue it or watch it at all, just because I'm not like a big isekai person. But I do like the elements that were in the first volume. It would be cool to see these in the anime too, like the origin like of Roxy, if you see Roxy, or like these characters. I feel like I could see them like animated on a screen, or seeing like Paul, like get called out for banging. That would be
cool to see in the anime too.
Banging the maid, Paul
getting called out.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just not really my cup of tea, innit? But I could see how it could be. A lot of people would like it.
But even not being your cup of tea, I think you kind of did like it, right?
I did, yeah. No, I enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy it enough to like, oh my god, I need to see more of this, or I need to consume more of this. But I think that it is like doing, things different. It's not completely like textbook isekai. There are some elements that I'm like, as a person who doesn't like it, can maybe see like with a magnifying glass more so than someone who does enjoy the genre. And just like, there's things in like shonen that you just kind of like disregard because you just like the genre, and you're like, okay, it's a part of it, I get it, like, it's fine. But as someone who doesn't really like enjoy it too much, can be like, I see that. But I would recommend reading the manga if you're not like super big on the introduction of the character in the anime in the first, 15 minutes of the anime. But I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought it was fun, and I liked the reveal of the dad, and I just thought it was so funny. Like, they just kind of handled it just like, this is how it is.
Yeah, I think that if you like isekai for sure at all, then I think you'll really like this. If you haven't checked it out already, it's so popular. I think a lot of people who do like isekai probably already have consumed it, but more, I guess, towards people who maybe have been a little more cautious about checking this out, or who maybe aren't people who are super in love with the isekai genre. I think that if you do decide to go down any type of road with it, the manga, or I mean, in my experience between the anime and the manga, I enjoy the manga a lot more. And so I think that, if you also are someone who likes the etchiness toned down a little bit, then you're also probably someone who will gravitate and probably end up enjoying the manga a lot better as well. But yeah, if you like isekai, this is a no-brainer. This is a series that you're going to love. And let us know more about it. Let us know if you've read the light novel or know anything about the light novel, if the anime is more faithful to that than the manga, or vice versa. And just your thoughts. If you've read the manga and seen the anime, your thoughts on the two comparatively. And also, if you just watched the anime and you loved it, let us know why.
Try to win me over.
Try to win me over too.
Try to win me over on this Mushoku Tensei.
Try to win me over on the anime too.
Yeah, the Mushoku Tensei anime.
Yeah, try to win me over on the Mushoku Tensei anime.
Okay.
But that's going to do it for the Volume 1 discussion review of Mushoku Tensei. But we're not done yet. We still have to get to our other segment, the Wonder's Circle. The Wonder Circle, of course, being the portion of our show where where our beautiful, intelligent AI, Volume 1-chan, goes through comments that you've left on some of our previous videos, picks a few, reads them aloud to us, and we react and respond to them. So without further ado, Volume 1-chan, can you take it away and hit us with the first comment, please?
This one comes from Johnny Light. If Skypiea was top shelf, next we're getting that off the menu shit.
Oh, dang.
Shooty.
Yeah, we're actually going to be recording our next One Piece episode right after we're done recording this.
Woo!
And very exciting because...
So excited!
I'm excited to I'm super excited to talk about the... sort of that breather arc that comes right after Skypiea.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
I'm obsessed. I mean, Mehgan was really obsessed with it.
I don't know why I love it so much.
Save it for the episode.
I'm sorry. I had so much fun. I was like, oh, this is the best arc of One Piece of all.
Yeah, she really connected to this like breather arc in between Water 7 and Skypiea. But also, we did get a lot of comments from people saying that we have to watch the G8 arc too. So because it is a small breather arc and the G8 is a filler arc, it does make a lot of sense, I think, to kind of combine them. So in that episode, we're going to be talking about both of those things. And I am so, you don't know how incredibly excited I am to get to Water 7.
Woo!
And the next time we read Water 7. Like, that's what we're going to be reading.
I know.
And that is so exciting.
Seventh Heaven.
It's like the Golden Age.
It's
like imagine starting to read the Golden Age arc.
Again. No, for the first time.
You're
reading it for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, I don't know what could top. I don't know what could top Long Island.
I know the long, what is it called? The Long Island.
Long
Island. Yeah.
Yeah, Long Island, One Piece.
Pirates. Long Island.
Oh, yeah, you got to get on that One Piece Long Island. Foxy Cleopatra.
Save it for the One Piece episode.
I was obsessed. But anyway, you can watch it. Click down below. I'm just kidding. That's not out yet.
I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah. But yeah, so excited for Water 7. Can't wait. Volume 1, John, can you hit us with the last comment, please?
This one comes from Howard Wang. The Edie official music video has the singer cosplay Mari. I think she did a phenomenal job.
I am obsessed.
Yeah, this is from the My Dress Up Darling episode 2.
I'm obsessed. It's literally it's perfection. I just love when an artist it takes appreciation for what they're doing it for. If it's like an anime or like a cartoon, like if they just include elements into their music video about what that is, I'm a sucker for it. I love it.
I'm a sucker for it too. And just in case you still don't know what we're talking about, the singer, the artist who sang the My Dress Up Darling.
Look up her name.
Is it the ED or is it the OP?
It's the ED.
It's the ED?
Yeah, it's the ED.
The music video, her music video for that song is her cosplaying as the main character from My Dress Up Darling. So it is a beautiful sort of, not even tip of the hat. It's an homage. It's just her showing love for, I mean, let's be honest, the song that, probably put her on the map for a lot of people.
Akase Akari is singing the ED. So it's Sono Bisuke dal wa koi wo suru ED. Yeah, ending. It's amazing.
Beautiful song
Koi
too.
no Yukie is the ED. But it's amazing. I mean, she looks amazing. She's doing the 3 characters that you see kind of in the OP, like the main one being from the game that she likes, herself just being in her uniform. I mean, she looks great. I'm
great.
obsessed.
I love, like you said, I love when they do that, when they show their appreciation for it.
It's like, what a way to put yourself as a canon cosplayer. It's like, oh, I sing the ED and I'm just gonna cosplay it like canon.
I'm gonna cosplay the cosplayer.
It's so on the nose. It's like, what else could you? It's amazing.
I love it. It's amazing, and I also love. I mean, it wasn't really up to them. But I also love, we watched Rider Wave recently too, and even in that video, the band was animated in the music video like the Rider Wave characters.
Amazing.
And that's so cool too.
I hope they were, because that whole song was in the whole movie.
I know, that movie was that song.
That movie was that song, so I hope they got some credit for that. But yeah, I'm just a sucker when they do that. I'm obsessed. I didn't even know that was a thing until I think today. I was like, what?
Yeah, and I think it was because of that comment, or was it someone in our Discord?
I think it might have been. I mean, I don't know which came first. What came first, the comment or the Discord? Am I right?
Wow.
That was dumb. But I'm obsessed.
Good.
I'm great. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. And if you like My Dress Up Darling, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like the perfect Mari.
Thank you, though.
Obsessed.
Thank you for watching, for listening. That's going to do it for the Wonders Circle. Again, if you want to get your comments read by Volume 1 China in a future episode, all you got to do is comment on this video or any of our previous videos. The very last thing we have to do before we get out of here, though, is we have to thank our wonderful, amazing, our beautiful Patreon members. Thank you guys for your support. That means the absolute world to us. If you are not a Patreon member and want to become one, we get we give you early access to all of our episodes, and you get access to our exclusive bonus Patreon podcast, Volume 1 Extra, and it's all for $3 on Patreon, and I think $5 if you become a YouTube member. The difference is very small, but it's because YouTube takes out more than Patreon, and so
you get a little
cute itself out.
You get a little cute icon next to your
name if you become a YouTube.
Name.
If you become a YouTube,
you got
member.
A little Volume 1 Chan sticker. You can get, I think, depending on the tiers or how long you've been one, it'll go from it
changes from Volume 1 Chan to all three of us.
Yeah, so if you're a member for a long time, you get I think Cody's the last one that you get.
Cody's the last one that you get.
Yeah, so it's like a badge of honor, and we see that too. And it looks so cute in the comment section.
It looks awesome. It looks awesome in the live chats and the comments. It's such a cool look. So, and again, you get early access to all of our videos, and you get access to that exclusive bonus Patreon podcast. The only reason that this week, if you are a Patreon member, that we weren't able to do it was just because we had some crazy winds in our area that basically made us lose power. We lost power for a day and a half, and weren't able to get it back until the end of the day or the middle of the day yesterday. And it was just so crazy. But going forward, we're also going to get back to doing it live for you guys and stuff like that too. So many reasons to become a member. And if you are, thank you again from the bottom of our heart. And once again, if you would like to become a Patreon member, all you got to do is go to patreon.com/volume1pod. And if you'd like to become a YouTube member, you just got to hit join on this video. Anything else they should know, though, Megan, before we get out of here?
Yeah, if you don't have any, funds at the moment, or you just want to support us any way you can for free, you can comment down below on any of our previous videos and or this episode, and you can count that as a free tip and join the algorithm gang today. You can subscribe, turn on the bell notification, and get to it.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't even know, but we really do appreciate, obviously, we appreciate your support no matter how you give it. But a lot of people don't know that just leaving a comment or hitting the like button, which is, something I could even get better at doing on videos that I watch on YouTube. But it really does help that video, that channel, those creators out a lot. It really is a way to tell the algorithm that you're enjoying that thing, and that it tells the algorithm that it should put that thing in front of other people. And so if you don't have like Megan said, the funds necessarily to support via Patreon or by becoming a YouTube member, then liking, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff really helps too. Really helps. And that's, the tip logic is that because it really is basically giving us a little tip for free, because it helps us out so much. And like I said, I could be better at that too.
Yeah, same.
But that is going to do it for another episode of Volume 1. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. The only thing we got to do now is get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, which today is... You were the pun master general today, so you gotta...
Hi, I'm Paul. Jimmy Neutron? The end of Jimmy Neutron? Remember that monkey with the 3 eyes?
He says, hi, I'm Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You guys remember that? He goes, hi, I'm Paul. That thing scared me as a kid.
It was a scary monkey.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Super scary.
People are triggered for that monkey. That monkey, yeah.
I do remember that now that you're saying it. But we could say something with Paul in it. Or something didn't you say Mushoku?
Tension. Mushoku.
Something about
Moosh.
We could just say bye.
Joke's on you.
We could just say bye, Paul.
Bye, Paul.
Bye, Paul.
I don't know. Paul Schmall.
Okay, Paul Schmall. I like that one. Can we do that one?
Okay, yeah, sure.
All right. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, Paul Schmall.
Get a load of this guy cheating on his hot-ass wife.
Hot-ass wife, too.
What?
Hot-ass wife.
Yeah.
Down-ass Heina.
Heina.
Yeah.
Healer?
Down-ass